Celibacy, I'm asexy. I'll go to bed, but I'm not giving head. Just text me please, cause you're asexy. See, there's transsexual, pansexual, homosexual, bisexual, but I'm an asexual. Yeah, demisexual, semisexual, gray sexual, heterosexual, and I'm an asexual.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
My name is Monique. I am your hostess with the mostest. And this is a very special episode of the Celibate Vegan Voices CVV code. Right now I'm in Marina Del Rey. Should we step outside here, Mike, and breathe the fresh air?
Sure.
Okay.
Careful, it's dirty, though.
All right. Mike is the new host with the most of the show. And we met, when did we meet? Back in 2014?
Yeah, I think 14.
Okay. And we met each other on ace-book.net.
Little lace book.
And we were one of just a few people, if not the only ones, that were talking about celibacy. Because the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of people in the asexual community that get very upset when you mention the word celibate or celibacy, because I guess they don't want people to think that being asexual is a choice, as celibacy is. We understand that. However, we also understand that if you're an asexual and you're getting upset about how people are pressuring you into having intercourse, or
the very least, a relationship.
the very least, like, your relationship, you feel like you have to, but you don't want to, then wouldn't this be the best means of living out your life? But Mike and I, we have both gotten attacked for putting the words asexual and celibate together, although we do define and realize that they are different. So we never said that they were the same thing. So that's one thing we share in common. We share many things in common. But this show isn't just for asexuals, of course. It's for celibacy. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding the word celibacy because, first of all, some people have different definitions of celibacy. When I talk about celibacy, I mean no sexual intercourse. And that's really the definition according to the dictionary. Now, we can get specific and we could start saying, well, what about, and this is embarrassing to talk about, but since this is an educational means, we have to discuss it. I mean, some people would say, well, is oral, I don't know how you would say it nicely. Oral, let's just put oral, is that celibacy? And some people would say, no, it's not, and other people would say, yes, it is. So, as far as I'm concerned, I feel that genitals should be kept where genitals are, and that doesn't belong in, holes of people's bodies where it doesn't belong. But at the same time, celibacy, to me, is really just the sexual intercourse, because there are so many different consequences that can come from that. And, I've been asked, well, what kind of consequences? You can get consequences with oral. You can get consequences with kissing, okay? And this is true, but I would have to say that we all know that people can get pregnant. They can have STDs more easily with intercourse. Then there is the emotional connection, of course. And, in this day and age, there are many people that forego the spiritual connections, and they just go for it, on Tinder or like these types of dating services.
Or the spiritual, aspect of like Kundalini and what's it, Tantra.
Speak into the mic, Mike.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, on the other end, they'll use the spiritual aspect of like, Kundalini unlocking and Tantra as an excuse.
As an excuse, exactly. So, I think that different people, as I talk to them, come to realize about celibacy due to various experiences or beliefs that they have in their life. Myself, I wanted to wait till I was married to have the intercourse. And then as time went on and a lot of my relationships just went south because I didn't go south, I realized that, is that really what marriage is all about in the end? Like, they just want to do that. So anyway, knowing that I wasn't planning to have biological children and I wanted to keep my body intact, because there's some difficulties to it, especially for a woman. You have to go to a gynecologist for, this type of practice and whatnot, and the whole birth control. And it just seems to me that somebody who would love you can give you affection, physical affection, in fact, in other ways without doing that. And so when I was in my, mid-ish, late 20s, I decided that I wanted to be celibate even in marriage. Now, that was going to be a big challenge for me because most people think marriage, that's what you do. Most religions say wait till you're married, but then you have to do that. The Bible alludes to it. But I didn't feel that it was right, and so I held my ground, and I lost a few relationships by thinking that way. And then the last one I was in, well, it's too long of a story, so we'll save that for another time. But that's how I came to grips with my celibacy. It did stem from the religion, but then it also was because of circumstances, and then I respect myself. So why should I make somebody pressure me to do that, even in marriage? Now, there are a lot of celibate groups. Not a lot. There's never a lot of celibate groups. That's why we're unique. And we're out here to help you to make it, take it to mainstream.
Yeah.
But, the few celibacy sites that I have seen are religious-based, basically Christian. And that's fine. But like I say, it seems like abstinence instead of celibacy. And this show is all about being celibate, taking that vow, if you would, to yourself, even if you decide to get into a committed relationship, or if you're dating, whatever let's just say, even if you are in a marriage. That's what we were saying. This is the ultimate birth control. And we feel that since 50 to 60% of marriages are ending in divorce in our country alone, we're in the United States, then how can it be that sex is actually keeping people together? It's not. Okay, what is keeping together, I feel, is the spiritual connection, is working at the relationship, and the love builds. I think that that's ultimately what it is. And then, there's secondary things that come out of it. What are your life goals? Finances, unfortunately, get into play. I know that a lot of people divorce due to finances. But again, ultimately, if you have the love and respect and you want to grow with one another, I don't care if you go into a different direction. You can always come back and make that relationship work. But there's a lot of people that don't want to put in the time for that, and then things falter. So, Mike, our topic was, what is it like being celibate and vegan in 2018? And this is going to be a really short show, everyone, because, we were trying to figure out some new technical things to get everybody on the line, and but that's okay. People like short programs these days. But I have to get going in about 15 minutes, so we're going to keep it short. And Mike, before we actually get into the topic, or if you want to introduce yourself as it pertains to the topic, go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. As Monique said, I'm Mike, the co-host. I'm also asexual, abstinent, celibate, vegan. I've not been vegan all my life, but I've been, even before I knew there was a term for it, asexual and celibate and abstinent, because I always knew that, I didn't fit in with peers and what they were doing and what they wanted to do, and I just never felt the desire at all to do what they were doing, and I was, more or less ostracized for it whenever I would attend social functions with my quote-unquote peers. But that hasn't really been that great I guess you could say, impediment. But things are changing gradually, but steadily. Attitudes towards, sexual continence and self-control are gradually moving as a more plant-based lifestyle and more, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for here? Yeah, alternative methods of mental and emotional health, i.e. meditation and yoga, are being embraced more. That's changing more. So I'm quite optimistic about that. And as the old axiom goes, the only constant is change. So here's to change and moving on up and forward.
Well, Mike, I just thought of something.
Do tell.
If I start going to my next commitment, and since we're on the phone, I think we can actually continue this conversation as I'm going.
I hope it doesn't cut out.
Okay. Well, I'll stay here for a tiny bit more, because what you said is very true. As people are going more plant-based, people are getting more enlightened, more open-minded to...
aware of, what's what.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great. That's great that's happening. I still feel that there are a lot of vegans that are very sexual, and they get angry. Yeah. They still get angry at you if you bring up celibacy.
It's a funny, unfortunate side effect for folks like us that, a plant-based diet does increase libido and sexual desire. Not in my case, or Monique's, but in general, it tends to do that.
Yeah, and again, I want to reiterate from the other shows that I've done. I always liked physical intimacy. What I didn't like was being pressured to, have sex, and thank God I stuck to my guns. And I'm glad that although some women have been sexually assaulted when they say no. Thank goodness that did not happen to me in that situation.
Goodness.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, yes, he's shaking his head, but seriously, I mean, there are people that have wanted to maintain their celibacy, and unfortunately, they were violated.
And I get this weird. I get this strange sadness, rage, just weird. I don't know. I guess a bit disappointment. I guess you could say as well, and on the behalf of my entire gender, when I think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know what? We're getting a little feedback, so maybe you better take that off your speaker.
Oh, okay.
Just today I heard, because you can hear me.
Okay.
Just today I heard driving over to your place that UCLA, there's some sort of a lawsuit going on now because in the radiology department, an employer, I gather, was going around and slapping people on the rear end. You know, I don't know what else. I turned it off, but he should have been turned off a long time ago. Bum. You know, always making a couple little jokes here to lighten it up. But yeah, it's like, you know, of course that wasn't sexual intercourse, but I'm saying it's like those people didn't want to be treated that way, and here they were. And oh, well, really, the USC doctor, everybody knows about him now. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of women coming out saying that when he was giving them examinations, that he was actually assaulting them with his hands. Did you know that, Mike, right?
Yeah, I have read a few of those stories.
Yeah, a few. I mean, there's hundreds now, and this man was
just so, you know,
yeah, I know.
I could only take a few.
I know you can only take so much, and it's very sad that some of these women were probably, for lack of a better word, virgins, right? And then they're going to make sure that they're okay, and then they're being, you know, they're being targeted like that, and that really actually messes with you for
a good while, if not the rest of one's life.
Yeah, it really does. So I'm really grateful that this is all coming out, because I can't believe for so long women were. Usually the answer was, oh, well, it might not be true. She might just be saying it to get attention or money, or, you know, most of the time women don't get money or attention, you know, back in the day.
Boys club mentality.
Yeah.
That's changing too, thankfully.
Well, I want to tell you, there's somebody that I know, and unfortunately he was sexually assaulted when he was 2.
Oh, Lord.
And to this day, he doesn't feel like he can truly be himself. And this is really interesting, and one would be kind of shocked, but I understand why he says this. He would like to remove his genitals, including the scrotum, because it bothers him that men behave in this way. And, you know, you might think, oh, well, that's like a mental illness, but maybe not so, because, you know, look at transgenders. They have their biology altered. You know, they have hormones that are put into them. I forget what the movie was, but it was nominated for an Oscar a few years ago. Eddie Ramin was in it, and he had the first transgender operation, and he passed away during it.
It wasn't the Dutch girl, was it?
Yeah, it was like that. Not the Dutch girl. Something near that, along those lines. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, when I heard this person say that, you know, I want to remove my manhood, I thought of that film immediately. You know, it is, to me, it's dangerous. Like I don't know what, you know, how would one go to the bathroom if you need some sort of a tube, a sack. You know, I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm just saying
it would
that,
definitely get complicated. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would get complicated. You know, for life quality, but I want to say that this topic now, and you know, celibacy, along with people who have been abused, it's all starting to kind of get intertwined. But you know, a lot of people also say, well, you want to be celibate because something happened to you. But see, that's not the case, because I wanted to be abstinent until I was married. So it's not because of abuse. Like, I really feel that it is a safe, healthy, logical, and spiritual way of living, even with a partner.
I agree wholeheartedly.
And that's why I started the Facebook group, which is exactly that, the Celibate, you know, Celibate's vegan, logical, spiritual. And it's like a long title, but those are all the reasons. And, you know, whether or not you have been abused, it's a good practice, and I hope that you have not been abused. If you have been abused, so that doesn't mean that you have to, you know, get back into the dating pool with having to have sex. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be, you know, normal, if that's what you think. It doesn't. That's just the thing. And that's very sad to me, that people, you know, counselors, they want you to move into that world again.
Yeah, get back in the game.
Yes, exactly, you know. So, and I think that we should actually have a whole discussion about counselors when it comes to dealing with celibacy, because,
that
you know,
would be a good one.
Sometimes you go to counselors and they don't get you. It just makes, I don't want to say it makes you worse, but it kind of changes.
It's definitely
the core
disheartening,
of you.
to say
Yes.
the least.
Yes. Well, my alarm is going off, Mike, so if you want to walk, we can walk and talk.
Alrighty.
Okay. And we'll just keep going.
Alrighty.
So, Mike, celibacy and veganism.
Yes.
In 2018. Yeah, so that's the topic. And as you said, people are becoming more aware. How about the fact, Mike, that, and I don't think it's as popular as it is, but how about the fact that there's still so much internet porn out there and people laugh about it? What's your feelings on that? Because I think that hurts the celibacy and vegan movement.
It's definitely a huge blow to progress, that's for sure. I just chalk it up to, you know, too many people still on that wavelength, and the rest not caring to take it down, you know, when you know, people do complain about it and petition to have those sites taken down. I think it's just a lack of caring on the part of the site host and owners, because it's a source of money.
Yeah.
Sex sells, you know. It's the oldest business in the world, as they say.
It's a shame that they consider it a business.
Yeah, that's all kinds of wrong.
I need some love, companionship, won't compromise. I close my lips. Sexual, pansexual, homosexual, bisexual.